What was he in the building for? He was hosting the
He was
event?
hosting. It was called Nick Cannon's Fresh Faces of Comedy.
How did you get on that event?
Dolly.
Damn.
Dolly making that phone call saying, I got some guys in North Carolina that's funny. You should give them an opportunity to come up here and do the show. And he was like, all right, bet, book him, because he was looking for new talent, but not for wilding out. He was just looking for new talent because that's just something Nick does from time to time. He just try to find new talent. And it was the Fresh Faces of Comedy. My man B-Dot, who we used to do the FFCS with, my freestyle funny comedy show that I started doing in North Carolina. He went up the first week and did it. And then I came up that second week and did it. And that's what happened. When I came and walked in the club, he was like, all right, Chico Bean. Okay, who are you? I'm like, I'm on the list. I'm performing. He was like, what are you doing there? Because they got more than one room. I'm like, he's like, oh, you're in the main room? Oh, you're on that Nick Cannon show. All right, so, what type of material do you do? I'm like, comedy. Nigga, what the fuck you mean? What type of material do I do? I ain't never had to answer no question like that. Yeah, so he like, man, what type of material? Are you dirty? Are you clean? Dirty? Or what are you? Yeah. Mind you, I'm fresh into doing comedy, about a year and a half in. I'm like, nigga, I do comedy. Like, what do you mean? Do I curse? Yeah. Well, do you talk about sex? Yeah. Do you say the N-word? Yeah. Well, you can't do any of that in here.
Got to be clean.
You got to do this. You can't do any of that. So,
and that's why you was outside.
And that's why I was outside, because everything that I planned on talking about, this man just told me that I'm not going to be able to say in this club.
Damn.
And I could have been a rebel and went up there and just did this shit anyway and fucked my opportunity up to ever be able to come back into that space again. And I don't know who this person is. And I know that this is the biggest opportunity that I have gotten up until that point. And I'm up there on the strength of somebody who I love to death's word and recommendation. So I don't want to fuck up what she gonna have to deal with tomorrow when I take my ass back down here to the Comedy Zone in North Carolina.
Right.
So I'm gonna make sure that I go out here and do that. Most motherfuckers in that position would have just said fuck it and left, because they can't do what I was able to do. Yeah. But I'm just, the way my mind work, I've always just been a special big-headed motherfucker that can go out and do different things at a level that most people can't do and they can't understand, and I always embrace that. So I went out and talked to myself, and I'm talking about I'm out there full-fledged, like, and this nigga walk in, and I'm all the way, I'm not even seeing, I'm aware of my surroundings, but I'm locked into what I'm doing. And when I got on stage, the first thing I did was talk about what just happened. And when I did my Wildin' Out audition 2 years later, when I first walked into the audition room, then mind you, my man Dot tells this story so crazy because we went together. He went in and, he does his whole little spiel and they ain't really fucking with it. When he leaves out, and this is from him telling me his perspective of it, when I walk into the room, he said within the first couple of 15 seconds of you being in the room, all I heard was that bitch erupt with laughter, nigga. And he said, that's when I knew I didn't make it. He said, after I heard that laughter that came out the room when you walked in, I knew it was over with. But for me, when I walked in, I'm not talking about the preparation that I had driving up here for this. I'm talking about what's in front of me.
Right.
Because I want you to see that this is naturally who I am. I don't have to practice being me. Like, me being me is what I want people to subscribe to.
Right.
And that's what I want y'all to see.
Yeah.
Because no matter what position you put me in, this is who I'm going to be in that position. So I want you to know what you're getting. So when I walked in the audition room, a dude named Dorian, salute to the OG Dorian, man, he was sitting in the room, and he big old dude, big nigga, and he was just mugging. I'm just like, man, what's up, Nick? He was like, man, I remember you, man. You my man from, Dolly homeboy, man, my man from the joint. I was like, yeah, I appreciate you, Nick. But who your man right here, man? What's wrong with him?
Yeah.
What's up with Slim? You all right, big man? You good? I need to be worried,
checking
nigga.
His temperature.
Yeah, I need to be worried. Big ass nigga, why you just standing there looking at me? He acting like he ain't want to laugh. And then I was like, bro, at least tell me your name. He was like, Dorian. I was like, oh, I see why you don't want to laugh. Nigga, your teeth big as a motherfucker. Nigga, you fuck around and cut your tongue off trying to laugh. And then it's like,
broke
boom.
Eyes.
You know what I'm saying? And that was just my interaction, because it's like, man, this is what you get with me. And I'm comfortable in my skin. I've always had to be. I've never been given a gray area growing up. Like, my mother was at Steve Harvey's boys camp. And one of the things that I gave to the young boys is none of them had fathers. And like I told them, as unfortunate as it is to not have a relationship with your father, you also aren't tied down to the obligations or responsibilities that your father would have gave you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
you're able to
traits that he
soak up
would've
game.
directly-
Right.
Yeah.
And directly pass down
Yeah.
to you, or, you know, diverted you from something that you was passionate about, but he not. So now you got to go by. So you
Right.
got to feel free to be able to understand it. It's unfortunate, but you got to find the silver lining in the fact that you can take game from everywhere. You can get it from all over, and you know got to soak as much of it up as you can. But I ask you that because, you know, in talking to you, you can see that you have an ability to be able to translate a message in a way that most niggas who didn't have a relationship with their father can't do. And I'm always interested in to ask guys who didn't,
Yeah.
at what point did you realize you was different than everybody else?
I think I knew that from.
Or was it a moment that you feel like it really resonated and set in with you, that you knew you wasn't like everybody else?
It's when life threw at me the same things they threw at people and I conquered them. But also when I knew that life was giving me everything it had from a negative standpoint and I survived that. So I said, nah, if I outwitted that, like outwitting the devil, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like, and then all my people, man, my people don't tell me that I'm great, but I don't care about words anyway. I watch actions. So the actions tell me I'm great. Everybody brings everything to me. When I didn't get broke down by what should have broke me down, you know, and
Can you give me an example of one of those times?
one time I was in a very serious relationship.